Welcome back to Homestead, another episode of Growing Things. We'll start off right here by checking on the 1167 LaRue. Alright, so I had to take the plastic off the hoop houses. There it is right there. Just getting way too hot in there. I got this old gazebo cover on here, and I sided it with deer netting. And that is to keep my chickens and turkeys and ducks out of it. So let's peek in here and see what we got. This thing is laying down on the ground today. Not sure what that's all about. It was not doing that yesterday. Now most of the big leaves except for the growing tip over there are laid down on the ground, and I'm pretty happy with how it's going so far. I did notice today I had a little squash beetle over there on that leaf. I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out how to get rid of those. You see here I got a few holes in here too. I've never had those before ever, but it looks like they got some of that one too, and we'll have to figure out how to get rid of them. Bad news with this plant, you see the growing tip there, and I got it going the wrong way. I was worried about that when I planted it, and that is in fact the case. Right now it is headed right over there towards the pig pasture, and I'm going to have to fix that. So let's check in on the 1152 Caspers. And it also has a gazebo cover on it to keep it shaded, and I'm trying to shade them from about 11 o'clock to about 2 o'clock each day because it's just getting blistering hot out here and wilting these leaves down. I mean, they look like they're dead. And then I get a little bit of shade on them and they bounce right back. This one has really taken off the last 2 days. I got this little hoop house built wide, and it turned out to be a big mistake. Rain sat on top of it. We got heavy rain the other day, and it just totally smashed this thing all the way down. And it smashed this plant to the ground, and I thought I lost it. But that was day 4 yesterday, and here's where we are today. No beetle action on this, it doesn't look like. You see the growing tip there, and it is growing right where I want it to. It's slightly going towards the fence, but I think I'm going to be able to get right through here. So what my plan is I'm getting the 3-point tiller. I'm borrowing that from a friend tomorrow, and I'm going to do me a couple of strips right here, and I think I can let this one grow over here and then slightly turn it and get it going up there, and then I'll have this one growing here, and the Caspers will come right down through here. And here's something that I am super excited about. I got these totes last Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember what day, and I hadn't got around to position them where I want them yet. I'm drastically behind on everything. You saw over there in the giant pumpkin patch that my manure and garden soil is still laying over there. I told you it was for another project, but it hasn't even gotten started yet. But it poured down rain day before yesterday, and I couldn't just let that rain go without doing something about it. So I set these guys up just using stuff I had laying around, and I was able to capture the water in here. And you got zip ties and a clamp, and I held that in there and it dumped it right in the hole. And I got almost 550 gallons of water in about 3.5 hours the other day. We've been homesteading and farming for right at 5 years now, and I cannot believe that we have never done this. This is the very first time we've ever done this. This is obviously not how I want these set up, but I just threw them out here to capture some rain. I actually had this one filling up, and it was about down to here, and I went inside to eat dinner, and I got a gutter on the other side of the house, which I've never finished since building the house, and it just dumps out on the ground. I was going to put this one over there and catch that water. Well, when I came out from eating dinner, which took me like an hour and 15 minutes maybe, this is where this level was at right here. So an hour and 15 minutes, almost 275 gallons is what this holds. And here's a 225 mark, and so we're probably about 210 or so on that. And this one filled plumb to the top, 275 gallons. I switched them over, and then since I got a little bit more room in here, I put that one back there, and it didn't rain anymore. But super excited about this. We will definitely set these up permanent somehow, somewhere, and that'll come up in a future video. All right. All right, I am in my pop-up greenhouse. Kelly thankfully helped me put this back up the other day. I got it back up, wind blew it away, and we put it back up again. We put a bunch of zip ties around it to secure it. The only place it stayed on the frame is where I already had zip tied up around the front. So we zip tied the whole thing, and I cut a window in the back. The biggest problem with these greenhouses is that it's got vents down here on the bottom for ventilation. But you know, everybody that has greenhouses knows that you got to bring the cold air in the bottom and hot air out the top, and these don't have anywhere for the hot air to go out the top. So you either have to leave the door wide open, which is not beneficial at sometimes, or cut a hole in it. Primarily cut the hole in it so that the wind will pass through it. The door is ripped off from where the wind damaged it, so I cannot close the door. But I just want this to stay relatively dry and maintain a little bit of heat, and it's doing fine. What we got here? This is 100 pumpkins, and these are jack-o'-lanterns filled pumpkins. These will be 5th generation pumpkins this year, and I just seed them in these cups. I take this little drill bit, it's like a 1/4 inch, and I zip right down in the bottom of the whole. I stack up a whole bunch of cups like this, and I just zip it right down through there and put me a hole for drainage. So 100 pumpkins right here, and they're all varieties, or all sizes. They're all jack-o'-lantern style filled pumpkins, and they will all go over in the boar pasture. I will also be tilling that up tomorrow, and these are about 36 hours in the cups right now, and my plant target date for these will be June 1st to June 5th. And right here I got some tomatoes to replace the tomatoes that I lost. I got 4 mortgage lifters and 6 Romas. I got the tomatoes out here in the garden planted finally, and they're doing decent. They look like they weren't going to make it, and they popped up and did really great. This is my lean-to trellis. I built this last year with the intent of growing watermelons and cantaloupe and jacari and a few other melons I bought from Baker's Creek, and I wanted to run them up this, and it didn't really work out that well. I got some weed cleanup to do here and get rid of some soil. This year I'm going a little bit different route on this. I decided to do my tomatoes back here, and we'll walk down the line and check those out. So I will string my tomatoes up. These are Romas here on this end. They probably won't get strung at all. They'll just grow short and bushy. I'm going to put some more Romas in this spot here, and this is where the mortgage lifters start. This is actually a mortgage lifter here. That's a Baker's Creek mortgage lifter that survived, and so is this one. These are a variety of some type of orange tomato, and another mortgage lifter that I don't know if it's going to make it or not, and then a couple cherry tomatoes. So my intent is to string these up from there to here, and we'll use these little clips. So we will be using strings and these tomato clips, and so I'll tell you something about these clips is I left them out here all winter long, and don't do that. See, they just break right up. I ended up with a bunch of brittle plastic that's just breaking. So you're supposed to be able to close this thing, and it clips. The string goes in here in the middle, and then you close it and it clips. But I can't do that to these. Thankfully I realized that I messed up and left these out all winter and all spring, and the weather just totally deteriorated them and made them brittle. There's one that's halfway working. Yeah, so the string goes right here, and then you just clip it, and the tomato vine goes up through here. These cups I use Miracle Grow potting soil, and I'm pretty sure I'm done with Miracle Grow soils. Alright, so this is Miracle Grow potting soil, and it's pretty much just bark and twigs and pieces of trees. And okay, I get it. I know that you compost forest material and wood to make soil, but this has just gotten outrageously ridiculous. You wouldn't believe all the huge chunks of bark and twigs I had to pick out of this. This is potting soil. The garden soil is even worse. It's looks like nothing but wood chips, very little dirt in it. Matter of fact, spilled some over on the pumpkin patch, and the rain washed away all the dirt, which is very little of it, and just left wood chips behind. So this is what I'm trying now. This is Mother Earth Terracraft potting soil. I haven't planted anything in it yet, but this is what I expect soil to look like. Look at that. Now that is dirt, and I'm anxious to give this stuff a try. I got a lot more stuff I need to seed, and we'll definitely be giving this a try out. All right, and these 4 cups here that I got the plastic on top of, trying to retain some humidity in here. These are the 139 Burdette giant watermelons. I got 4 of those there. I had 6 started in the house, and I think 1 might try to pop up, but I had them too deep. I had them planted about like this. These are. And then for some reason, I put a little bit of layer of earthworm castings on top of it, and I think it was just too deep. And I ended up dumping them all out. And a couple of them tried to germinate, but they just didn't make it out of the soil. So we are making another shot at these, and we'll see how those go. I will walk you down towards these other Atlantic giants we got down here where we grew last year on the way. I had all kinds of strawberries come in, and something came in and ate them, and just last night too, because I checked yesterday and there was a bunch there, and now not a single one. Volunteer potatoes, and they're starting to bloom. Expecting some of those real soon. Got some bell peppers and jalapenos there, doing really well. I'm very happy with my cabbage thus far. This is early Dutch here, and early Dutch, and then red cabbage back here and over there. Still haven't planted anything in my tunnel yet. Pretty sure I'm doing cucumbers there this year. Onions still looking pretty good. I don't know what's going on with this batch right here. Getting a little bit yellow and not growing like those guys are. This is the 68 haul. This is last year's 68 pounder, and I'm calling this one the Underdog. I'm really happy with how this is growing so far. This is about what I expected it to look like. It's not earth-shattering. The leaves aren't real big, but it is climbing out of there. It has touched down, and it's growing a few inches every day. And I built huts to go over top of these 2, and this material here is the old pool cover that we salvaged last year, and I'm using that for shade. Same concept here. I'm trying to shade from about 11 o'clock to about 2 o'clock because it's really, really rough on these guys, and you can tell it. The wind was blowing around. I had these little greenhouse covers on them, and these tried to attach to it, and the wind kept popping them off, and during the heat of the day this thing would look like it was dead. But all I had to do was put the shade back on it, and it bounced right back right now. Again, I got deer netting on it just to keep the ducks, chickens, and turkeys out of it. And hopefully this will give us more than a 68 pounder this year. We're on the path to do better. I got some amendments in soil. I tilled it up really good, and I'm actually going to, when I pick up the tiller, I'm actually going to till all the way to the end of my center box for my garden over here, and same thing along the fence over here, and give that some more space. Now this won't need that much space, but I got some blue Jardale pumpkins I need to plant, and some other fall squash and stuff, and I think I could put some of those in there. This used to be part of the garden last couple years. We haven't planted in there since we fenced in this, and I'm actually going to take the tractor over there and till that up, and we'll put something else there too. Not quite sure yet what the plan for that will be. And the 400 house. It's getting nice big leaves. It hasn't touched down yet. You can see a very small growing tip on there. Not quite sure what's going on with this. It's actually looks better than it did when I got home from work and came over here and looked at it. It's not doing spectacular. I would like to get a decent sized pumpkin off of this, but this is mainly to pollinate the Underdog, and so I need some male flowers off of this, and that's my main goal for this plant. And if we get a pumpkin, that's a bonus. All right, so that is this week's update on growing things. Again, I really hate being bloggy. I can't stand it. I'm more of an action person. I'd rather be out here showing us doing stuff. But right now, it's kind of the stage we're in is the bloggy stuff. I'm off of work for a week, and there's going to be a lot of activity on here. Hopefully, we'll be able to capture a lot of it. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing at Hematite Homestead. I'm going to give these pumpkins a little bit of water, and we will see you next time.